Have you ever come across a venomous snake, or maybe you've seen one slither away? Let me know in the comments below. One night, in the heart of the Indian jungle, the air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying logs. The night jungle was alive, whispering through the rustle of leaves and the distant call of owls. Crickets sang under the blanket of darkness, while fireflies floated like sparks in the heavy air. Far off, the fireflies danced around a small family's campfire at the edge of the trees. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows on their faces, making their hushed voices sound like secrets shared only under the cloak of night. The parents sang softly to their sleeping child, unaware that danger was slithering silently closer. Out of the shadows, a cobra glided across the earth, its scales glistening faintly, every movement a promise of death. In the jungle, the laws of the wild are absolute. This cobra, driven by instinct, sought only sustenance for survival. It sensed the warmth of the family's camp and the promise of unsuspecting prey. The jungle held its breath. The cicadas fell silent. Even the wind paused as if in reverence to the approaching danger. The cobra was almost upon them, its red eyes gleaming like malevolent stars in the darkness. Its hood flared, ready to strike, venom dripping from its fangs. Death was poised at the edge of the firelight, a mere heartbeat away from striking. In the flickering light, the youngest child stirred. Drawn by some primal fear, he lifted his head, just a few steps away from the protective ring of fire. For a moment, predator and prey locked eyes. Time seemed to stop. Then, as if awakening from a dream, the child's mother screamed, jolting him back to safety. The entire village awoke to the piercing cry. Fear shot through them like an arrow, uniting them in a single moment of terror. None dared move, each frozen in the grip of the night's horror. And then from the deepest recesses of the jungle came a sound that echoed through the stillness. A sound that seemed to challenge the very balance of life and death. A large female hyena emerged from the darkness, her spotted coat melting into the shadows, eyes glowing in the firelight. The hyena, a creature synonymous with fear and savagery, was a nightmare made flesh. Her presence sent shivers down their spines, her reputation preceding her. She was known to steal livestock, to haunt travelers, a ruthless scavenger with a cruel laugh. For generations, the villagers had viewed her kind as nothing but trouble. As thieves of their hard-earned meals, as harbingers of misfortune, they cowered in their huts, hiding from the hyena's wrath, believing her presence brought nothing but bad omens and misfortune. But this night would shatter everything they thought they knew. She took a step forward, her growl low and menacing, yet strangely focused. It wasn't directed at the cowering villagers nor the unharmed child. Her gaze was fixed on the serpent. Her ears pricked, her muscles tensed. The hyena, instead of joining the chorus of fear, had answered the call of danger. The cobra reared its head, uncoiled slightly, and struck, the strike echoing in the sudden silence. The speed was astonishing, the precision deadly. The serpent lunged, fangs extended, injecting its venom directly into the arm of the hyena. Even in the dark, the sight was terrifying, the strike clean and efficient. A hiss escaped the hyena's throat, but she didn't falter. As the villagers watched, horrified and helpless, the cobra prepared for its next strike. Yet the hyena was quicker. In a flash, she clamped her jaws around the serpent's head, crushing its skull against her gums. A crunch echoed through the quiet night, followed by a gush of blood. The villagers gasped, their fear momentarily forgotten as they witnessed the raw power of the predator before them. The cobra thrashed, its body convulsing, its venom-filled fangs tearing into the hyena's muzzle. The hyena snarled, her eyes blazing with pain and fury. She shook her head violently, trying to dislodge the snake, her teeth sinking deeper into the serpent's head. The struggle was intense, primal. The two predators locked in a deadly embrace under the flickering firelight. The hyena, though wounded, fought with the desperation of a cornered mother protecting her cub. Her jaws were a vice, crushing, tearing, determined to end the struggle. As if sensing its impending doom, the cobra's thrashing grew wilder, its fangs grazing dangerously close to the hyena's muzzle. Coils wrapped around her head, squeezing with desperate force. But the hyena growled louder, her teeth sinking deeper into the snake's head. Then came a moment of silence, a brief pause in the struggle. The hyena, with a Herculean effort, rolled away from the cobra, creating a small space between them. Her muzzle was bleeding. The hyena could feel the burning pain of the venom coursing through her veins. Adrenaline surged through her, overriding the agony. She knew she had to act fast, to find water, to quench the fire that burned within her. Without warning, the cobra struck again, this time raking its claws down the hyena's face. The hyena yelped, blood trickling down her muzzle. The villagers watched, their fear now mixed with admiration and suspense. How could this lone hyena, this creature they had demonized for years, stand up to such a lethal foe? As the hyena recoiled, her eyes met those of the villagers, and for a moment, understanding passed between them. They saw the ferocity, the pain, the sheer will to survive reflected in her gaze. She turned back to the cobra, her gaze unwavering. With a final surge of strength, She charged, leaping onto the serpent, pinning it to the ground. The villagers held their breath, their fate hanging in the balance. The hyena, with a Herculean effort, rolled away from the cobra, creating a small space between them. Her muzzle was bleeding. The hyena could feel the burning pain of the venom coursing through her veins. Adrenaline surged through her, overriding the agony. She knew she had to act fast, to find water, to quench the fire that burned within her. Without warning, the cobra struck again, this time raking its claws down the hyena's face. The hyena yelped, blood trickling down her muzzle. The villagers watched, their fear now mixed with admiration and suspense. How could this lone hyena, this creature they had demonized for years, stand up to such a lethal foe? As the hyena recoiled, her eyes met those of the villagers, and for a moment, understanding passed between them. They saw the ferocity, the pain, the sheer will to survive reflected in her gaze. She turned back to the cobra, her gaze unwavering. With a final surge of strength, she charged, leaping onto the serpent, pinning it to the ground. The villagers held their breath, their fate hanging in the balance. With a swift, powerful bite, she crushed the serpent's skull, silencing its deadly hiss forever. The villagers erupted in cheers, their voices echoing through the night, their fear transformed into awe and gratitude. The hyena stood over the dead cobra, her chest heaving, her eyes burning with primal fire. She looked once at the villagers, a deep growl rumbling in her throat. It wasn't a threat, but a reminder. This night, the child had been spared, not by man, but by the very creature they feared. Without waiting for thanks, the hyena turned and melted back into the trees, her shape swallowed by shadows and her laugh echoing faintly in the distance. As the first rays of sunlight touched the dukiest grass, the villagers began to stir. The night's events replayed in their minds, leaving them shaken and humbled. They stepped out of their homes, blinking at the morning light, their faces etched with wonder and disbelief. Some spoke in hushed tones, their words carrying the weight of revelation. Others simply stood in silence, their gazes distant, lost in contemplation. For many, it was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a truth they had long ignored. They looked at the world around them with newfound eyes, seeing not just danger, but also courage, resilience, and even compassion. The child's mother knelt beside the spot where her son had slept, her fingers tracing the dew-covered grass. Tears of relief and gratitude streamed down her face. The hyena had saved her child, not out of kindness, but out of instinct. Yet to them, it was a distinction without a difference. The child, now safe in his mother's arms, looked up at her with innocent eyes. He didn't understand the peril he had faced, the drama that had unfolded just beyond his slumber. But his parents held him closer, their love intensified by the night's events. They knew they owed the hyena a debt of gratitude, a debt that could never be repaid. Yet somehow, the hyena had vanished. No trace of her remained, neither in the disturbed undergrowth nor in the footprints around the camp. As if she had never been there, as if the events of the night were a figment of their collective imagination. The villagers went about their day, their movements slow, their gazes heavy with thought. The hyena's actions had shaken them to their core, challenging their beliefs, their fears, and their perceptions. The news spread like wildfire through the neighboring villages, carried on the winds that whispered through the trees. People gathered, exchanging stories, each retelling, adding a layer of awe and wonder to the original tale. The hyena became a legend, her name spoken with reverence and respect. The once reviled scavenger was now seen as a guardian, a silent protector of the innocent. And so the story was told and retold, becoming a part of the folklore, a reminder that sometimes the most feared creatures can become the most unlikely of heroes. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Here we bring you the most amazing animal rescue videos and stories. Please hit the like button to help us grow and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Your support keeps our rescue work going. Thank you.